Okay, so let's dive in. For the last few weeks, we've been really focused on what the sources are calling the quiet shift.
Right, that internal stuff.
Exactly. The personal reevaluation, figuring out your purpose, maybe pivoting your career later in life. But today, we're shifting gears.
We are.
We're moving from what's happening inside us to a massive force happening around us. I'm talking about the completely unexpected rise of the 55 plus generation in the digital economy.
It's such a crucial distinction to make because this is an external shift, and it's one that the entire digital world, I mean the tech industry, just fundamentally failed to predict.
Right.
For like 2 decades, the assumption was really straightforward. This demographic, they'll slow down, they'll step back, they'll, quietly exit.
And our sources are making it very clear that assumption was just flat out wrong.
Completely wrong.
So the mission for this deep dive is to really get into that, to dissect that flawed assumption. We want to understand why exactly the market missed this generation so badly.
And, maybe more importantly, highlight the competitive advantages they're bringing to the table now. Advantages that, can't be replicated.
And it's not just theoretical. I mean, the sources give us real, tangible proof.
Oh, yeah. We're not just talking about people using social media. We're talking about innovators, creators. I mean, look at someone like Jane Doe, who is still at the forefront of AI algorithms.
Or John Smith. His leadership is totally redefining digital marketing because he has decades of actual consumer insight to draw from.
Exactly. These aren't people catching up. They're paving a new way forward, built on real, lived experience.
They didn't fade away. They were just waiting for the right moment. And I think that's a powerful place to start. Let's dig into that foundational error, what the sources call the market's miscalculation.
Well, if you look back over the last, say, 15, 20 years, you can almost see how the mistake was made. It was short-sighted, but, understandable.
How so?
All the money advertising budgets, tech development, the entire online business model, it was all focused on younger demographics.
Because they were the early adopters.
The early adopters, the fastest spenders,
Yeah.
and honestly, the easiest to scale a business toward. The whole thing was built for speed.
So there was this unspoken message, this kind of vibe in the
A
ecosystem.
very potent one.
It was, hey, you're not our target audience.
You're not our primary customer.
And you are definitely not the person who's going to create the next big thing.
They became what the data people call afterthoughts.
Yeah.
The business models just weren't built for them. They were built for high growth, short-term value.
And dealing with a demographic that, maybe asks a few more questions or takes a little longer to adopt some.
It's financially inconvenient. Exactly. They picked speed over stability, and in doing that, they created this enormous blind spot.
So it wasn't malice, really. It was just the economic model, the path of least resistance.
Precisely. But here's the core flaw, the thing nobody stopped to analyze.
What's that?
The generation that physically built the offline world, the ones who designed industries, navigated recessions, built institutions, they don't suddenly become incapable just because the world moved online.
That's a really powerful point.
Their resilience, their adaptability,
Yeah.
it just turned this market oversight into a huge opportunity for them to step in later with way more insight.
Okay, so the business models just couldn't account for that complexity, which leads us right to the next piece of this puzzle. Misinterpreting caution as confusion.
Yeah, and this is maybe the most human part of the misjudgment.
How so?
When all this tech just exploded onto the scene, a lot of people in this demographic didn't immediately run to it. But, and this is key, they didn't run from it either.
They watched.
They observed, they evaluated, they took their time to actually understand the consequences of these new tools.
And what did the digital world see when they saw that observation?
They saw caution, and immediately they labeled it confusion.
And slower adoption.
They called that resistance. Or they saw someone carefully deciding which platforms were worthwhile, and they just called it, outdated thinking. It created this really unfair stereotype.
But let me push back on that a little. For someone who lived through, say, the dot-com bust,
Yeah.
isn't some of that just genuine resistance to change, not necessarily wisdom?
That is a great question. And it's the critical distinction the sources help us make. Wisdom isn't just about resisting or embracing change.
It's something else.
It's about understanding the deep patterns of human behavior that technology either enables or, exploits. This generation had lived long enough to know a very simple truth.
Which is?
Hype is not the same as opportunity. They know the difference between something that's fast and something that lasts.
So the pause wasn't paralysis.
Not at all. And the silence wasn't ignorance. Taking the time to understand before you act. That's not hesitation. That's applying wisdom you've earned.
Because they've seen these cycles before.
They've seen growth, mania, and the inevitable correction play out over and over again in their careers. They knew the cost of chasing every shiny new thing.
Okay, so that distinction opens the door for a much more intentional way of engaging. So let's make this practical. For you, the listener, if you have all this offline wisdom but feel like you missed the boat online, what are the steps?
The beauty here is that you're just leveraging the asset you already have, your expertise. It's just about applying a digital layer.
So it's step one.
Apply that expertise directly. High-value online mentorship, consultancy. I mean, think about how many younger businesses are just starved for experienced leadership. You can provide that over a Zoom call.
Right, so your decades of knowledge become monetizable instantly from anywhere.
Exactly. Step 2 is to become a thought leader.
Yeah.
Launch a blog, a podcast, a newsletter. Share what you know. You don't need a Hollywood budget, just consistency.
What about step 3?
Leveraging tools. Things like webinars or virtual workshops. You're not just a user of the platform anymore. You're a creator of valuable content on it.
Okay, and the 4th step is a big one.
It's crucial. Actively look for cross-generational collaboration. Merge your deep experience with younger people who have that native command of the technology, that synergy. It's incredibly powerful.
It's not about fighting your way back in. It's about using new tools to build a new system that actually values what you know.
You got it.
And this is where it gets really fascinating for me, this idea that experience is data.
This is the core competitive advantage. It's value that is totally non-replicable. Technology cannot shortcut this, it can't automate it, and it definitely can't fake it.
So when tech companies talk about big data, they mean clicks and purchases, billions of data points.
Right.
When you say experience is data, what does that actually look like? How does a life become a data set?
It's a very specialized form of pattern recognition.
Yeah.
It only comes from decades of real-world consequences.
Okay, explain that.
Big data can tell you what happened. Experience can tell you why it happened. And more importantly, what will probably happen next when things get messy, when human irrationality or market panic kicks in.
Things an algorithm can't predict.
Exactly. This is a generation that worked, failed, built things, navigated recessions, often without a search engine to give them the answer. They understand cause and effect on a level that goes way beyond a simple algorithm.
Wow. So decades of corporate experience is actually the ultimate big data set.
That's a perfect way to put it.
You've logged variables that an algorithm doesn't even know to look for yet.
Precisely. And that training gives you tangible skills, real competitive advantages in an online world that is, frankly, losing its patience and its humanity.
Okay, let's break those down. First one, calm decision-making. Why is that a competitive advantage online?
Because the entire digital sphere runs on anxiety. Viral trends, algorithm changes, they trigger these immediate panic-driven reactions.
Chasing the trend.
Right. But this demographic, when a platform changes its algorithm overnight, they don't panic. They assess the actual business risk. They remember a similar crisis from 10, 20 years ago, and they respond with a grounded strategy, not a reaction.
It's a stabilizer. What about the second point, relationship-based communication?
Well, in a world of fleeting clicks and transactional DMs, this generation understands that trust is more valuable than a quick conversion.
They know how to build things that last.
They know how to build professional relationships that span years, not just a fiscal quarter. And online, that translates into loyal communities, high-value partners, not just chasing volume. That depth of trust is incredibly rare online.
And the last one, long-term thinking.
Yeah.
That seems so countercultural to the move fast and break things mantra.
It is, and that's its power. Long-term thinking means you've actually seen the high cost of chasing right now at the expense of what's next.
You understand sustainability.
You can build a revenue model that lasts for a decade, not just until the next funding round runs out. You anchor the whole conversation in stability.
So these are not soft skills. That's what the sources are really getting at.
No, these are hard-earned, crucial competitive advantages. They provide the ballast, the gravity that this whole digital world desperately needs.
Which brings us to our final segment, building a new seat. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? This isn't about trying to reclaim the job you had 20 years ago.
Not at all. It's about building something new.
Something different.
It's about acting with purpose, with clarity, and with the freedom to choose how you want to engage.
Yeah.
The sources use this great concept. They call it entering in parallel.
Entering in parallel. I like that. So it's not about fighting the existing system.
No. You're building a new one alongside it. You're not competing for entry-level jobs or chasing trends someone else started. You're creating high-value advisory roles, consulting gigs, new businesses that can only exist because of your decades of wisdom.
So you're bringing balance to a space that has just been obsessed with speed and distracted by noise.
You're bringing the signal back into the noise. That's exactly it.
And it's not some loud revolution you'd see on social media.
No, it's a quiet reentry. It's grounded. It's intentional. And because of that, it's surprisingly powerful. You are bringing the stability that the market is only now starting to realize it needs to survive.
So if you're listening to this and you're over 55 and you've ever felt unseen or underestimated in this digital world, we just want to affirm what these sources are telling us.
You are not alone.
You haven't missed your moment. You are not behind. You are certainly not done. You're just entering the conversation differently now.
This whole deep dive, this movement, it's your invitation to step forward. Confidently.
Yeah.
Share what you know. Write your next chapter. Use that unique data set that is your life.
That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Operating on your terms, leveraging that experience as the priceless asset that it is.
So we invite you to continue this, to move forward quietly, steadily, and with the confidence that you have absolutely earned. Because the generation the digital economy didn't see coming is not finished.
Not even close.